Bears going to D.C. to take on the Commanders. Hey, Commanders were game today, too.
Mm-hmm.
In a loss to the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. Got to overtime. Thought maybe Rivera should have gone for two towards the end of regulation, go for the win, and run out.
I'm kind of glad he didn't because I had teaser legs pending with the Philadelphia Eagles.
They scored with 1 second to go.
But he is not Riverboat Ron.
No, he's not.
He is Paddleboat Ron.
Because Riverboat Ron goes for that.
Riverboat Ron is like, I'm on the road. I'm a big underdog. I'm going for it. Did not elect to do so. Nevertheless, based on the two performances today, this was 4.5 on the look ahead. And now it's 6 in the market, and even a 6.5 right where we sit at Circa Sports. So
feels heavy to me.
It does to me too, and I do lean the Bears despite what we saw today. The fact that they were up 28-7.
Oh boy.
This was one of the better games Justin Fields had played. He was, great. You look at the stat line, 28-35 for 335 and 4 touchdowns. But you also look in the second half. Fumble that was returned for a touchdown and a late interception on the final drive. But I'm not going to put it all on him. And look, the Chicago Bears, you look at what they did today offensively. 471 yards. Broncos, by the way, still struggling on defense. This is we talked about the guy Sergio Dip that was the Monday Night Reporter on that Broncos game years ago, and he goes and he was kind of lost on camera and lost for something to say, and he goes, "Look at Vance Joseph. He's just having the time of his life." When he was the head coach of the Denver Broncos, you know who's having the time of their life? Every offensive coordinator that goes against his defense, because the Chicago Bears, who were really struggling, 471 yards, 6.7 to play. Fields has his best game in God knows how long.
Wow. And
they still find a way to lose to Denver.
And we did hear, I don't know if people know this, the Chase Claypool rumors. Apparently, Matt Eberflus did not know that a member of his staff told Chase Claypool, you should stay home. He showed up. He played on special teams. There's so many disconnects going on right now with the Bears front office. You go, and the team that you go, how can I back them? Well, I think you just laid out a pretty good case that the number's already gone from 4.5 up as high as 6.5 in the marketplace. The defense is still terrible. The over has gone up 2 full points from opening at 42.5 up to 44.5. It feels like a lot. But the Commanders, while game, they feel like they can be had too. So I don't know that I'm ready to lay a touchdown with the boys in D.C.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of buy-in here, too. And keep in mind, this same Commanders team was life and death in Week 1 with Arizona and probably should have lost the game. Now, Sam Howell, man, we're just getting erratic performances because he looked so bad against Arizona, and then he carved up Denver, and it was like, oh, maybe Sam Howell is
big to Denver that game, 21-3.
Maybe he's really good, and then Buffalo, a real defense, comes in and holds them to 3 points. That they kick that field goal in the final seconds to avoid being shut out. And then you go today on the road at Philadelphia, 29-41 for 290 and a touchdown pass for Sam Howell. He was sacked 5 times, and that's always a concern. And because it's not just because of the offensive line, it's because of him holding the ball too long and being too indecisive. And that's what rookie quarterbacks can often be. Because they try to be like so perfect, and it's like, oh, they're so afraid to make a mistake, and you hang on to the ball, and you can't do that against NFL defenses.
Nope.
But, Washington, led most of the game, never say die, end up losing in overtime 34-31. So I think, when you have a performance against the defending NFC champions, it's no surprise that this has been adjusted. And look, there's not a lot to like about the Bears. Matt Eberflus, I think, should absolutely be on the hot seat for how he managed that game today. And then just not knowing what's going on with your team, the fact that he doesn't know what's going on with Claypool, the fact that
didn't know he was there.
He's already had to let go of the defensive coordinator, take his resignation, who came with him from the Colts staff, by the way, when Eberflus was defensive coordinator. But I do think this is a little bit of an overreaction. I think you'll see some buyback on the Bears here. Commanders a little bit better of a defense, even though they did give up 6.2 a play to Philadelphia. Now that's Jalen Hurts and a very good offense. But yeah, Dave, I think this is a little overreaction. If you remember this game last year, it was at Chicago, 12-7. Commanders get the win. But it was 7-3 going into the fourth quarter. Commanders get a field goal. Commanders only got their touchdown on a short field because of a muff punt by Velus Jones. Put them in position. They scored a couple plays later. But
why do we keep showing the Commanders and Bears in primetime?
I don't know. I mean, this was one. It was 1 year in a row, and I think Al Michaels certainly going to be on the call for this one. I wonder if he was still doing Sunday Night Football, how he'd feel about the Swifties. I think he'd be about over it.
I think he'd be done.
I think he'd be over it by now. He was certainly over this Bears-Commanders game last year, but
was he ever? You could hear the disdain.
But
in
it
his
might
voice.
be higher scoring, but it might be the same comedy of errors.
Let me ask you this, because I know that Eberflus would be on the short list right now in the prop market to be the first coach to be let go. Now that you have what would be a mini break after the Thursday night game, a week and a half, do you feel like that gets adjusted in the marketplace that Eberflus might know, man, this thing goes south? The way we just lost this 28-7 lead, right, and blow it to the winless Broncos, if we go lay another egg in D.C., I might be looking for work on Friday. Does that get factored into the equation of we must win in order to avoid
Yeah,
X?
I mean, I think certainly it could. And I think the sense of urgency is there anyway because you got an 0 in the win column and you're 0-4 right now. And, not the only winless team in the league. The Carolina Panthers, certainly they still have company there. We'll talk about their matchup against Detroit later in the show. But, yeah, I think the Bears, it's hard the way it happened to take, like, progress or to take something good in terms of a carryover. But you did move the ball.
Yeah.
You did run the ball. You were able to do what you wanted offensively against. Now, part of that is the Denver defense is just so dreadful.
Yeah, if you execute a 4th and 1 outside of the 2-minute warning, you probably win the game. I mean, that's what we're talking about. It literally comes down to a yard that they could not figure out to get.
It's just mismanagement by a very young and still very new and inexperienced head coach. But I did expect that this was going to move based on what we saw because everybody's going to be down on the Bears. But as of right now, I'd be looking Bears. I don't think this gets to 7, even though we do have a 6.5 right now at Circa Sports, but pretty much 6 in the rest of the market.
So just hold if you want to back the Bears and see where it might go?
Yeah, I think there's buyback, though, early in the week.
I think you're probably right.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.